What's up, everybody? Checking in with the safety goggles. Safety first. I kept wearing those little glasses and getting metal pieces up in my eyeballs, so I went old school. Anyway, just doing a little prep for some welding on my tilt trailer, doing a bumper rail. This stuff isn't painted, but I just want to get some of the grease and debris off of there, so I'm going to hit a little flapper disc and get my tilt trailer ready for picking up another storage container tomorrow to ship up to northern Arizona for a customer. So anyway, I don't do too many tutorials. Like I said, I'm just prepping shit for welding, and I won't edit this at all, so it's going to be basically me grinding, and then eventually I'll be welding. So like I said, just doing some shop time down here, nothing too exciting, just checking in like I've been doing. So projects, man, we got tons of them. So I'm behind on all of them, and I'm just trying to blast some stuff out. So, but yeah, I'm making these bumper reels. I bought a 24-foot tilt trailer, an iron bowl, double axle, I think about 16,000 pound rated, and I'm using it to basically relocate, sell shipping containers, and just use as a regular trailer as well. I've towed some vehicles on it, things like that already. I've only sold a couple containers so far, not for a lack of demand. If I had 100 of them, I'd have 100 sold. It's insane. So. Unfortunately, with the prices right now, the 40-foot containers are just outrageously priced up in northern Arizona. Actually, northern California, anything north of Long Beach, basically. And they get more expensive as they go up. So people are asking like 10 grand for like one trip, even like 12 grand I've seen for one trip 40-footers. It's crazy. So basically, the 20-footers are hot demand right now because basically they're half the price. I mean, they're half the size, obviously. Maybe not what everyone wants, but people are buying them right now because they just can't afford the 40-foot. Is what I'm assuming. So. But yeah, so I bought a trailer and I modified it with some 10-inch strips. I'll show that in another video. I haven't got to that. I'll do it tomorrow when I get my next container. But these little bumper rails, I'm building, putting this little piece that goes in a stake pocket on there. I'm molding it to this metal, 3-inch, a 1/4-inch metal by 3-inch height-wise. And these things are about 4 feet long or so. And they go in my stake bed pockets that are on the outside rail of the trailer. And then basically they sit in there and they allow the container, when I drag it up with a winch, or if I'm dropping it off at a property, to kind of bounce in these little bumper rails like you would for a set of bumper cars. So but yeah, so I'm just basically grinding these things out and prepping them, and I'll be doing some welding later. So I might film a little bit of that. Bear with me, it's gonna be noisy right now, so if you want to sit around and watch some guy grind on these things, that's what I'm gonna be doing. Otherwise, like I said, maybe I'll do a little welding video later on. That would be a little bit quieter. And I'm not a good welder. I'm a very inexperienced, very basic welder. Self-taught. Luckily, I have some good friends that are good at welding. That's part of the reason I never learned welding. I said in one of my other videos, because my friends are so good at it, I always relied on them. Whereas things I'm obviously good at as well, you know, we kind of bounce each other up back and forth. But this is one of the skill sets I never acquired early on, so I've been kind of working on that. So anyway, I know these goggles bring out the superhero in me. So stay tuned, a little grinding, and then we'll do some welding later on, okay? Hope everyone's doing good out there. basically anywhere you're gonna make a weld, I mean, I did plumbing back in my day, I know to clean the surface really well. Anywhere I'm gonna make a weld, for instance, like right here, I'm gonna grind this down as clean as I can, kind of deburr it, also get all the grease, and if there's paint, get the paint off. Bam, slap it in there, lock it in with these clamps, and then basically I'm gonna run a tack weld, they call it, where I come in and I just go tack, 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 tack. I usually double check my measurements that time because it's a lot easier to break this thing off and start over or grind it off with a couple tacks. Then if you throw, no matter if you're a horrible welder, putting a whole bead on here makes it one hell of a time getting it back off. So I'm kind of a measure 100 times cut once kind of guy when it comes to this stuff, especially when welding. The metal's not cheap these days. It's time conducive, or it takes a lot of time to get this done. And like I said, I'm still learning my welds and whatnot. So basically welding all these surfaces, they're a little bit wide because my stake pockets that were previously, are pre-built onto my tilt bed trailer are not equal on both sides. I mean, they're probably hand done, and it's not like it's maybe it's a similar of some form, I don't know, but it's definitely not accurate. Most of the ones I've measured will be different on one side than the other. Even some of the metal that was put on for over the wheel wells is different on one side than the other. So anyway, you just make amends on that and make it work. So, but yeah, basically anything that's gonna have a welded surface, so like these edges, I'm gonna weld the very top of this area right here, so I'm gonna make sure it's a clean surface. I don't know how crucial it is. I think, I know it's crucial, but I mean, I've seen people weld on really dirty metal, not even care. Maybe they got a higher end welder than me, maybe better, more juice on the welder, get it a little hotter. I just figure, get all the elements out of the way, get it as clean as possible, where you're gonna make the surfaces, and do the best prep you can. And then get rid of all these burrs too. These would be something that I basically pick up by hand and move around my trailer into the stake pockets. So I want these things to be deburred, because you'll just get in a hurry when you catch it and you'll tear your hand up over it, maybe even with gloves on. I've torn it up quite a few times just with the metal. So yeah, I'm just prepping these up, like I said. So the next thing I'm gonna take where that mark is right there, give you this one, do the same thing. So that'll be my mating surface right there. Bam, or if you see it in here, that'll be that area right there, a little bit farther than I need to, but so basically I'll hit all the edge part that's gonna be on. So I don't have to hit the middle in there, but I'll hit the edge and whatnot. Anything's gonna be made at this surface, including this bottom part right here. When I flip it up, I can get a nice weld on there. So, like I said, totally inexperienced welder. Learned most of what I learned just by YouTube, just getting on there and seeing what people are doing. This is a skill set, like I said, I didn't have, and it's so, I think it's not crucial to have, but God, it sure is, it's nice and saves you a lot of money. Welding's not cheap. Well, it's not super expensive, but the metal's expensive already, so if you add in the cost of having someone weld it for you, it does add to the cost of whatever product you're working on. Now, if it's a safety-related item, like I was working on my weekend order on my frame, I have a friend or several friends that are much better welders than me, that if it's a safety issue going down a highway, I definitely prefer them to do the welding, at least at this stage in my welding experience. But, a couple years from now, maybe another year and a half, I'd probably feel pretty good. Oh, rain in California, you hear that? Very unusual. So we've been getting some crazy lightning down here too, so it's been pretty cool watching that. But I got some pretty interesting lightning all day long. It reminds me a lot of northern Arizona. So I'm eager to get up there at the end of this week for probably about 10 or 15 days, moving to one of our new properties and getting to experience some of that monsoon coming. So I enjoyed it last year. We were in a tent. It was pretty nuts. So a tent with flash floods and all kinds of crazy shit going on. So it was cool. Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. Like I said, I'll try and catch a little bit of the welding later on, and we'll go from there. Like I said, this is just kind of catching on what I'm doing, nothing specific. I mean, a little bit of tutorial, I guess, on some prep stuff. As I get set up in our new place, I'll build a pretty nice workshop up there. We'll try and do some videos that maybe highlight building stuff a little bit more detailed, like the steps I go through, why I go through them. And like I said, probably not a full-blown tutorial, but enough to get you started. And then you can ask, I mean, I'm good with responding if you guys haven't noticed. If you have questions in the comment section, from RV roofs to buying land to spending too much money on gas to drive around this earth to welding projects to whatever, I try and give you feedback, especially like land permits wise. Everyone always hits me about permits. I can tell you, I'd say X-nay on the permits, but I'm not really into talking about the permits and going through all that. I'm going to be doing permits with my septic systems on any of my properties I put them in, but I want to opt out everything I can. I didn't move to rural property to go spend a bunch extra money, on permits and have someone police everything I do. I mean, I'm into living free, and we're so far removed from that from birth here. It's absolutely ridiculous. So, don't mean I want to cheat around the system or anything like that. But if there's a way to opt out of permits, I'm not worried about building I guess I'm going on a tangent here. People always ask about permits. I'm not really worried about increasing the value of my properties through permits. That's not my intention when I bought those. So I'm not that concerned with that particular part of it. So I guess that's what I'm addressing. Everyone asks me, what's the permits? What's it cost? Look up your local county. I mean, if you're looking in the county I live in, you can still go online and look at it pretty quickly. I'm able to find out on my properties pretty quickly what the restrictions and zoning is and things like that, and what they expect. It's pretty basic. But I know a lot of places in Arizona do have a lot of opt-out options, and I really enjoy the idea of that. And I'll be, utilizing that when I can as I move forward on, building properties and whatnot, rural or whatever I end up putting up there. So on any of the properties that we've bought. So anyway, tangent there. Have a good night, guys. And like I said, I'll try and tune in a little bit for the welding later on so you can see how not to weld.